Ontario dementia caregivers, this video is for you. One of the questions that comes up really often is, what is the crisis list? How do we get into long-term care? How does this all work? So I want to share our experience and what I learned going through that. So first of all, Ontario Health at Home. Make sure that you have a care coordinator. They are the ones that assess your loved one and gain you access to all of the different supports available in Ontario, whether that is in-home support, PSW care, whether that is adult day programs, which we certainly took advantage of, and ultimately long-term care. Track everything that's going on with your loved one. Download our tracker if you haven't yet at disruptdementia.com. It is your evidence for what's going on with your loved one and will help you advocate for the care that your loved one needs. So download and track all of the different dementia symptoms and how often they're happening. Now, for us, we got onto the long-term care list a couple of years ago as we were realizing that it was no longer safe to keep our mom at home. So what happens when you go on to long-term care list is, first of all, your care coordinator from Ontario Health at Home will do an assessment and approve you. They will send you a form to fill out, and on that form, you check off the care homes, the long-term care homes that you are comfortable with. Now, we were given the advice to choose as many as we could that we were comfortable with, because that does help with obviously the selection. And it shows that you're really trying. So make sure you tour every home and you know what all the rooms are. Check our video on the questions to ask when you're touring care homes. Make sure that you understand the difference in the rooms in the care homes. In Ontario, we have basic, semi-private, and private. What we found was that some facilities might only have basic and private, but their basic room actually was only joined by a bathroom. That was the only shared part. So we were actually okay with a basic room in some facilities, whereas in some facilities, a semi-private room was only separated by a short wall, and we didn't want those rooms. So make sure you understand what all of the rooms are like and what you are comfortable with, because if you are offered a room in any of those homes that you have selected, you pretty much can't say no. More on that in a minute. Now, so you can be on the long-term care list in multiple homes, and to be honest, in Ontario, that means you're waiting a long time. As we toured homes, we would often ask about, crisis and that sort of thing. And we heard some people tell us that no one really is getting in anymore unless they're on the crisis list. We heard people say that people were waiting 10 years to get into long-term care. So really, the question becomes, what is crisis list and how does that work? So we were put on the crisis list, I believe early this year, maybe February or March this year. And this is December right now. So many months ago, we were put on the crisis list. We thought, okay, we'll be getting in within a couple of months. Nothing really happened. Our mom continued to have a lot of falls. She was having some toileting issues. And just really, it was getting harder and harder to keep her safe in the assisted living home that she was living in. So we continued to track all of our symptoms, everything that was going on, saw the escalation of the falls, all of that in our spreadsheet, and we stayed in touch with our care coordinator continuously, letting her know what was going on, what we were struggling with. We ultimately got another assessment from our care coordinator as things got much worse, and this was getting into like October probably. And we were escalated as a higher priority on the crisis list. Now, one thing that I learned is all of the homes that we chose, they each have their own lists of all of the people who have chosen them on their forms. So although we have 12 homes, it didn't mean that, you know, those all of their lists are continuously moving and things are changing, because we're on 12 lists, so are multiple other people on multiple different lists. So as someone gets approved for a home, their name comes off of multiple lists. Now, as someone gets approved for crisis, their name comes on multiple lists, and depending on how high level they are in the crisis, they might be more of a priority than your crisis. So, we were able to find out from our care coordinator what number we were on in the different lists. So at this home, we were number 30 on their list. At this home, we were number 12, etc. That's a moving target again because people are coming on and off lists continuously, but it gives you a little bit of a gauge. So you should be able to ask your care coordinator that kind of information. It gives you a little bit of a sense. Now, even though we were like 12 and 13 on some lists, it was still months back then. So again, we got up leveled on the crisis list, and we were at the point that in order to ensure our mom's safety, and really it still wasn't 100%, we had government paid PSWs actually coming into the assisted living home, and we were approved to have them 8 hours a day with our mom because she was having so many issues. So because we were showing that we were doing everything we could to keep our mother out of long-term care, that was helping us to get higher priority on the long-term care, if that makes sense. We had our mom with PSWs all the time. We were visiting her or had a visitor almost every day. We had her in an adult day program twice a week. We were doing everything we could to keep her in the community and out of long-term care. And she still was having multiple falls and issues that we were tracking all the time. So we had our evidence. And so we were up leveled on that crisis list. Now, what happens when you get the offer, and this is where you have to make sure you have toured those homes and you feel so comfortable with the homes that you've put on your list, you have 24 hours to respond, accept or refuse the offer. So if they call you at 9 a.m., you have until 9 a.m. the next business day to respond to that offer. If you refuse, you are taken off of the list and have to have a reassessment by Ontario Health at Home 3 months later. That was impossible for us. So we absolutely had to say yes to the home that we chose. And it could be any of the ones on your list. When you say yes to a home, you can ask to keep certain homes on the list in case they come available, but you're no longer on a crisis list. So that again is the regular long-term care list. So let's say we said yes to a home that was number 12 on our list, but we really wanted number 1, 2, and 3. We might keep them on our long-term care list, even though we're moved into number 12 on our list. And if a regular room, not a crisis room, were to open on one of those homes, we might get that call. It's never going to happen. Let's be serious. The other thing that might affect your priority or how quickly you get into long-term care is if your loved one has like exit-seeking behaviors or other problematic behaviors, because they usually do have one wing or one neighborhood or ward where it is a locked ward, and so you might only be approved for those wards instead. So these are things to keep in mind. There is no guarantee of timing. Certainly in Ontario, there are people who are in hospital who are ultimate priority on the long-term care list, but there really is no guarantee as far as timing and getting into long-term care. But what I recommend is track everything, keep in touch with your care coordinator, and do whatever you can to show that you're doing as much as you can to keep them out of long-term care, and that will help you get into long-term care when you really need it. I hope that helps to clear up some of the different kind of rumors or things that you might hear about long-term care and crisis list in Ontario specifically. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and ask us any questions. Comment. Let us know what you'd like to learn more about. We are sharing our journey in hopes that we can help others caregiving for loved ones with dementia.